Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at another short story in this Evil Roots collection that we'll be doing a deep dive into, the Killer Tales of the Botanical Gothic, this horror collection of stories that have a theme of a killer plant or poison from a plant or some sort of a plant that's involved with it. And today we're taking a look at one of my favorite short stories by Ambrose Bierce called A Vine on a House that was published in the early 1900s for you folks. Ambrose Bierce is definitely somebody who's a big name. I've already done several reviews by him. He has two major works that are sort of canonical. An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, a horror short story, which I've already reviewed for you folks. That was published about the hanging. And then he has published a dictionary called the Devil's Dictionary, where he defines things as in a satirical manner, and so that's hilarious too, and it definitely has a lot of his sort of sharp, biting wit that you'll see. This short story is one of my favorites. It's my third favorite after A Hiatus Shepherd, which I've reviewed for you folks, which actually isn't horror. It's more fantasy and mythical, and so forth. And then The Inhabitant of Carcosa, which is my favorite short story overall. Anyway, so this is my third favorite. I'm giving this a 9-, like an 8.8 or an 8.7, then I'm running up to a 9. I rarely give those out, but this is definitely worth it. It's actually pretty quick. This is probably like the 4th or 5th time I've read it. I definitely love this short story so much. It was in this collection, and I definitely enjoyed that. So I'm going to be giving it a very, very high ranking because it is so strong. Now, it's rare I come across a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10, and this is in case a 9-. It's still the first one I've given in a while for horror folks that follow this channel, but it's definitely worth it in this one. It's fast. I read it last night again for in 10 minutes on my way to the mall, the Arendelle Mills Mall here in the southern suburbs of Baltimore, where I live in Catonsville, and I just was going on my way to go see Avatar 2 in 3 at the 3D theater there at the mall. And in the 20 minutes on my Uber ride over, I knocked it out and still had like 10 minutes left for you folks. So that was fun. Now I'm going to be I'm doing these reviews one review every day. So right, I'm doing a review every day. So it'll be a while before this gets published because this is about the 10th short story in this collection. So there's going to be like 10 weeks of horror stuff before you get to it. But this is... I'm sure that'll date it for you. But I've read this thing several times since I bought an Ambrose Bierce collection. And this thing is just so well written and so well done. So again, I keep my reviews spoiler free in case you're new to the channel. So you don't have to worry about going to spoilers. I read this online in my cell phone on the way to work, so I can already know that this is online, as most of Ambrose's. I've never come across something by Ambrose Bierce in a publication like this, and then I wasn't able to find it online for you folks later. So this is free online, so you don't have to spend the money for this collection. Although I'll link it to both in the collection below. In the collection that we've been doing deep dive into, and the free version online too, in case you just want to read it there. This is definitely, Ambrose Bierce is such a gifted and talented craftsman when it comes to his literature. He has these turns of phrases that are just so well strung together. He's just a brilliantly gifted craftsman, one of my favorite craftsmen in the horror genre that I've ever read. But his stuff, as a result, it can be a little harder to read at times. But anyway, the central conceit of this short story is that there's a haunted house in the rural areas. It's dilapidated, it's decayed, it's been around for a while. And then we'll find out on the first 2-3 pages the history of the family and what happened to them and what happened to the house afterwards. And then a few people are going to meet up at the house because it's a nice meeting place. Three gentlemen, and they are going to see an unusual looking plant that looks like a vine. It's attached to the house where the title of the story comes from, and it's moving. And one of them says it's probably going to be raining soon because it's starting to move in the wind. But another one points that none of the other plants are moving either. This is the only plant that's moving while near to them, and that spooks them. And so that's about 4 or 5 pages into a 10-page short story. So I'll leave you there. But that's what happens. What's going to happen to them? What's the key secrets of the vine on the house and so forth, and how is it related to the backstory that we find out in the first few pages? We'll find out later on. in a very captivating way. So there you are. That's The Vine on a House by Ambrose Bierce. Like I said, it takes 10 minutes of your time, so I'm not going to spend that much of my time reviewing it. But that's the key concepts of the short of it for you folks. So anyway, as a reminder, the title of this collection, Killer Tales of Botanic, comes from this idea of going a deep dive into horror of a botanical nature. I came across that idea from a video called Monstrum on YouTube. It's a sub-channel of PBS, and I'll link you to the video in the comments below on killer plants and mating trees and so forth. And so we've been doing, and so I came across that, and I did the first short story was online, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's thing for you folks, and then that's also in here too. And then the second short story isn't in here, The Man Eating Tree. And then the third short story, Louise H. Hooper's, is, but I found it online, so I read it. Louise H. Hooper's is in here, but it's not. I couldn't find it online. So I picked up this collection after I saw it. I was like, let's just knock out the collection. It's got some other popular writers in here, like in addition to Ambrose Bierce, like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, like Nathaniel Hawthorne. I read a short story by M.R. James was the most recent short story. He's a famous horror writer, and so you got. I read another short story by Charlotte Perkins Gilman in addition to the yellow wallpaper. So there's a lot of big names in here. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I definitely enjoyed it so far. So the next short story, we'll take a look at it. Anyway, so also as a reminder, the name of my channel, The Worst Thing About New Books, comes from a quote by Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old books. And so things that are written like this more than 100 years ago are key parts of what I like to unearth and unpack and read and review and so forth, and I really enjoy it. That's where my passion comes from, hence the title of this channel. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read A Vine on a House by Ambrose Bierce? If so, I would be happy to talk with you further about it in the comments below, and we can also talk about spoilers and the ending that I love so much. So anyway, let's do it. If you enjoyed this video, why not hit that subscribe button? There should be a lot more of these to follow. And then finally, I want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives. We're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.